Hi parents, welcome back to day 2 of our the 3 hours of respectfully caring for children in Sleepy Hollow. Day number 2 today, following on from yesterday. If you didn't see this clip on me discussing this yesterday, have a look back. We talked about respect yesterday. Number 2 today is response. So I talked a little bit yesterday about watching out for cues for children and young people. So this requires staff to observe and know children. I've spoken before about we allow staff up to 3 hours out of the room each week for non-contact time with children. So that is with regards to writing up observations, doing planning, and that is really, to me, quite key in this concept, because it's the staff who are in the room working with the children hands-on who know the children best in our settings. They will come in and they will have observation sheets for each age group, particularly each age group, and they may have milestones below the children's age, milestones at the children's age, and milestones above the children's age, and they record those for each activity we do. We would make a little recording and put them in the children's folders and write that up, because that isn't necessarily to it is obviously to see what stage of development children are at, but we use that as a planning tool, first and foremost as a planning tool. So we're saying, look, this is what the children should be reaching, and how are we going to, in our curriculum, implement opportunities for children to be able to do these milestones, never mind reach them. You know, are we providing children in our 2-year-old room the opportunity to climb 3 stairs unaided? You know, that requires taking them out onto the staircase and letting them do that. So these are the kind of things that we're looking at in our observations. That's just a very quick example. But this, as I said, requires staff to know the children. Staff will watch for the cues for children, you know, given by the children and young people. They learn to read their body language, they know the temperaments and traits of each individual children, and they respond to those children individually as needed. What one child is going to need to be able to achieve something is going to be very, very different than another child. In fact, 8 children in the one room will not have exactly the same requirement in order to be able to complete activities. So it's important that our staff get to know the children in their care, and that they respond to the children's needs, and that gives children the confidence to venture forth, to explore and discover, to ensure that we're really at Sleepy Hollow given the best possible opportunity for the children and the young people to reach their milestones. So that's quite brief, really. One of the other theories that I've been looking at when I've been writing this second part about response, it's an author really, I suppose, it's a theorist, quite new research by Janet Lansbury, and she talks about 9 ways about putting respect into action. One of the things that she talks about is communicating authentically, speaking in authentic voices for children, more slowly for children, but using real words, talking about real things, and knowing, obviously, as we're talking about response, knowing what language that we need to put into place for what children are going to understand and at what level. That's really, really important. So that's encouraging children to be able to build on their communication skills, asking them questions and giving them lots of opportunity to respond, and always acknowledging children's communications. We may not understand verbally what the children are saying to us, but it's acknowledging to that child that we're listening to you, we can hear you talking to us. Might be a baby at 9-10 months old babbling, but we are really showing facial expressions to know that we're really listening to you, and what you're trying to communicate to us is really, really important. Giving the children time to actively participate in the caregiving activities. We talked about this yesterday, and that includes focusing attention, again, looking out for the cues for children about what they want to get involved. You know, if we're going nappy changing, going over with the children, getting them to help out, not just always necessarily running in and thinking, gosh, we need to get nappies changed and back in, you know, kids are getting down to sleep here. It's going in and engaging and looking for the cues for children. Do they want to help pick out their nappy? Do they want to go and get their wipes? Do they want to, you know, and talking to them as we're putting them, you know, to get our own hands washed, engaging and telling them exactly what we want to do during that time. And that's just, as I say, giving children chance to actively participate in the caregiving activities. Talking about not needlessly interrupting children, trusting children's play choices are enough, perfectly actually enough for children. You know, they're giving us the cue. They've picked up a toy. That is what they want to do. That's what they want to play with. And it's acknowledging that and not saying, look, that it's time, we've gone on to the next activity. It's listening and responding to those cues. The other one here that Janet talks about is allowing children to develop motor and cognitive skills naturally. So we talked yesterday about not propping children up. And our role in that is primarily trusting children. You know, they're trusting their own body to tell them when they're ready to sit up. If a child that we're propping up is constantly going to tumble over, they're not ready to sit up. So again, that's, you know, looking for the cues and children talking to, you know, responding to that. Encouraging children to express their emotions by opening, accepting and acknowledging them. If a child is upset and is crying, we're going to say to them, you're upset, and if we know why they're upset, we're going to re-engage in that, saying, you're upset because we tidied away the toy. We're going to bring that back out again after sleep time. So it's acknowledging that you know that the child is upset, why the child's upset, maybe upset because at drop-off time, a little bit of separation anxiety. All of that can be important. It can be managed by re-emphasising, look, mum's going to be back at 5 o'clock, daddy's picking up today, and we'll show the children on the clock. Whether they're understanding of it isn't, we will point and say, mum or dad will be back in such and such a time. So it's acknowledging that, not trying to always distract and bringing children out and distracting them to come back for there to be even more disappointment that mum and dad have left the room. It's constantly reassuring and looking for those cues so that we're giving children peace of mind and that we are listening to them and that we accept their emotions if they're upset or if they're excited or if they're laughing. You know, we equally embrace that. Those are all emotions that we want to be able to acknowledge. We recognise that children need confident, empathetic, confident people working with them, clear boundaries, but no punishments, no time out. We use the high scope method of conflict resolution. So that would be very much if two children were having a dispute, and this even goes down sort of to our 1 to 2 year old rooms where there can be issues of children snatching toys at that age group or biting. The high scope method of conflict resolution would be coming in and acknowledging the problem between, say it's two children. So we'll say Jack and John here for the purposes of today. So John might be upset and we would be saying to Jack, you know, explaining that if a situation has happened or say somebody has snatched something, we will talk with them both through together and we will encourage one child to apologise to the other. And we will talk about then at the end that we've solved the problem. So that is really, really important for children to know that, look, we've discussed it. One child has apologised, we've explained whatever the action is and why it's wrong. And we've asked one child to acknowledge that they have hurt the feelings of the other child. But we're also encouraging the other child to accept that apology. And reaffirming closure of a situation by saying, we've solved the problem. Now that is something that we try to do from as early an age as possible, because once the children come to preschool and there may be a conflict over a sand toy or something in the sand tray or something, we will quite often hear children then using their negotiation skills themselves as opposed to adults having to come in and resolve that for children. But we never use any form of time out or any negative strategies at all for resolving, you know, behaviour. So we're empathetic leaders. We demonstrate, we lead by example, and that would be the same if there was tension and everything. Undoubtedly working as a teen is always, but that would be the type of strategies that we would put into place, you know, whenever there's maybe staff or there's conflict today, or we would use the same strategies ourselves when we're having maybe a tough day ourselves, saying, right, how can we solve the problem, come up with solutions here, and if we can do that ourselves, and it works really, really well, it works wonderfully with the children too. So, and clear boundaries so that children know, look, these are the boundaries. It is a group care environment. These are the boundaries of the room, and that we will interact or stop something if we feel that we have to. The next one is going on. She talks about allowing children to problem solve and experience and learn from age appropriate conflicts with our support, which is basically what we've covered on and maybe covers on from empathetic leaders and clear boundaries. But it is really, really important, as I said, about allowing children to problem solve. And the power of our modelling is number 9 that Janet talks about, and recognising that children are learning through our every word and every action about everything, about empathy, about gratitude, about patience, about tolerance, about kindness, about honesty, about respect, and about themselves, their abilities, their worth, their place in the world. We will constantly be reassuring children what a great job they're doing, how successful they have, and what they've achieved. You know, if they've gone on from stacking 3 blocks to 5 blocks, that will be a huge milestone. And it's really, really important that we understand the power of our modelling and recognising children's achievements. So hopefully you've enjoyed my second hour today, and if you tune in tomorrow, you'll see the final of the 3 hours. Thank you.